Good morning, dear respected Thay, dear brothers and dear sisters. Welcome to the day of mindfulness. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Hello? Okay, better. So welcome to the day of mindfulness. We are a smaller group compared to the first time people, but that's okay. Small is beautiful. We are practitioners, and according to the Buddha, a practitioner is called a gardener, called bhavana. Bhavana is translated into a gardener, gardening. So we cultivate the soil of our mind and our body, and we do gardening, take care of our own body and mind. But bhavana have original meaning is come from bhava. Bhava means to make into existence. To make into being, becoming something. So if there's no happiness, we make happiness become real. If there's suffering, we make suffering transform. But unfortunately, sometimes the more we practice, the more we suffer. You see, so the word bhava means to make it become, becoming. Actualizing. So we have to be very careful when we practice. Practicing in a way that brings more happiness. Instead of bring more suffering, we need to cultivate bhavana to make more happiness. See, the balance is more happiness, less suffering. But if more suffering, less happiness. That's the way, you know. So we have to re-examine. Bhavana is sometimes called re-examine. Experiment, make experiment, scientific experiment. So we don't practice totally just for the sake of, out of the form or devotion. Praying for something to come. We have to make a real scientific experience about our practice. Whether we bring more happiness or we bring more suffering. Why? Why it become bhava? Bhava means becoming more suffering. Is something wrong with our practice? It should be more happiness. And today I would like to share with you why we suffer so much from my personal experience. And it's okay to suffer, but the practice should make you more happy and has the power, the capacity to transform suffering. If day by day we are more suffering, that something is wrong. Lately, I have a lot of joy and happiness, and I can feel this energy. It makes me sleep well. It makes me my body happy, healthy. So suffering has its roots, and the first root is come from the body. If we practice and our body is not well, it also brings a lot of suffering. Like overeating is also suffering. Overeating, oversleeping is also suffering. Less exercise. We work too hard. We just exhaust our body. We don't have energy. day by day, our body get tired easily get tired, exhausted. And that is also, very difficult for the practice. It brings more suffering. When our body is in pain, exhausted, we easily get upset. We are not happy. And have the tendency of looking outside, more suffering when we are not happy, well-being in the body. Our teachers say that we should not try to practice intensively. Like you sit for 7 days, 10 hours a day, and you do it for 10 days. You become so intensity, sitting so long hours in a day, and then after that you give up. So that doesn't work. So we need to take into concern about, take care of our body when we practice. We need to eat well, not too much, but well. We need to sleep well. If we don't have enough sleep, we can be very sleepy during the sitting. Yeah. Anyway, we need to make our body healthy, so that when we come to the practice, we feel energized, feel like strong, happy, want to do it. The second roots come from the way we speak. When we speak, we have to be aware that most of the time we are gossiping. We talk about someone else, problem, ill will, shortcoming, gossiping. And this is also suffering. We think that we make other people suffer, but actually we are suffering. The more we talk, it's ill will, someone else problem and shortcoming, the more we make our mind suffer. Second is we complain too much. So complaining is already suffering. We complain this and that. We complain the people. We complain the environment. Like we live in the monastery, we complain about the schedule. Complain about the food. So complaining is suffering. Opposite is appreciation. Complaining is opposite, appreciated. Gratitude. The third kind is the root of suffering come from the speed is we excuse ourselves. We reasoning and accusing. It's in order to protect us, our shortcoming. Every time we say something, we always reasoning and excuse. Excuse us, but we blame other people. So this go along with complaining and blaming. The third kind of suffering, roots of suffering is exaggeration. We exaggerate things. We make it like too heavy. In our mind, it has this function and it's bring it into our speech. Exaggerate. We don't tell the truth. So it comes next is we lie a lot. Lying is somehow it's a human nature. We lie a lot. We have to look back, we lie a lot. Maybe to protect ourselves, to make ourselves look good, presentable to everyone. So we lie. Intentionally or unintentionally, we lie. And the next one is too dogmaticism. When we speak, we are too dogmatic. Ideology, dogmaticism. We are holding too much our view, our thoughts, our belief, and create a lot of suffering. Usually create a lot of conflict, but actually suffering with And the next kind of suffering, roots of suffering come from our mind. The first one is we think too much. Do you agree with me? We think too much. Thinking all the times. And somehow the thinking just consumes our energy. Yeah. We have not enough energy because we think too much. And most of the thinking is nonsense because it doesn't bring into life. And has a tendency of very negative thinking, depressed. And next, the roots of suffering in our mind is ambition. We have too much ambition. We want too many things. We want to be like this, to be like that. We are not accepting ourselves. We want to be famous. We want to success in our life. I'm sharing my own personal experience. I went through a lot of suffering as some monastic life. And one of that is ambition. You want to show up. You want to become someone important. You want to be a Dharma teacher. You want to be a teacher. You want to teach other people. Ambition. You want to control. And next one is controlling and struggling. We want to control other people, and we want to struggling inside ourselves, controlling ourselves. So ambition brings controlling and struggling for power, controlling other people. We want people to be your part, your side. Sorry about that, but I have to say everything in the mind. Controlling our emotion, also suffering. When we get angry, we control our anger. Angry is already suffering, controlling another suffering. Yeah, people say, as a monk, do you get angry? I say, yes, a lot. But not controlling it. It's okay to get angry. And we practice with it. But not suppressing, not controlling our anger. And also not act out. And that's a skill. That is the practice. So controlling, struggling, suppressing is very suffering. And the next one, I think most of the time we do it is evaluating. We give score. We give people score, good or bad. Evaluate. We evaluate ourselves. We evaluate our action. One day I heard a brother, he put an alarm to get up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe for Sangha life, studying, but he get up at 5 minutes after 3, and when he got up, he beat himself up because he tried to control. He felt that he didn't do it right. So that is self-beating. Controlling is self-beating. Really suffering, a lot of suffering. Because we want to be good, that's why we control, we're struggling. Evaluating, give score. This should be a good monk, this is bad monk. That's most of the time we fall into that trap. Sometimes we practice so well, but we are evaluating other people. And that's really suffering. Yeah, because nobody is the same. You enjoy sitting, do it, but don't control. Don't try to make other people come for the sitting. Sometimes we're checking around whether how many people are coming to the sitting, and that's really suffering. So evaluating and controlling. Next one is judging. We judge a lot, like a judge. This is the function of our own ego. We judge other people. We judge ourselves and we judge other people. In Plum tradition, we have a practice called shining light. But have to be careful. Shining light is come from love. Shining light is only a reflection, not a judge, not a judgmental mind, not right or wrong, but it's a reflection, a love. It's motivated by love, and you have to see at least 3 times more to be able to shine light on that particular action of a brother. You don't guess, you don't think, you see 3 times. Like one day you saw a brother slam in the door, and you don't say to him, you wait until the end of the season, of the winter retreat, and you shine light on him. That's not right. You have to see at least 3 times. Sometimes he didn't slam the door, but the wind slammed the door. You see, accidentally the wind just slammed the door, but only 1 time. So we don't shine a light on that basis of judging, misunderstanding, perception. So judging is very dangerous. Judging and evaluating, give a score. Good monk, bad monk. Good practitioner, bad practitioner. So these are actually the roots of our own suffering. Even if we practice so well, but we don't transform this, we suffer a lot. Yeah, we make ourselves suffering, and we spread suffering all over. I like to summarize, according to the body, overeating, oversleeping, less exercise, work, struggling too much, exhausted the body. Try to work, to drain all the energy. The second is speed, is gossiping, speak in the back of somebody else. It doesn't work. It doesn't bring communication at all. Complaining, reasoning, excusing, exaggeration, lying, and dogmatism. Holding too much to the view. Whether it's right view, it's still dogmatism. That's suffering. And the mind is thinking too much, overthinking, and most of the time it's thinking negatively, ill will thinking, ambition. And stress and anxiety, I forgot to say that. Stress and anxiety come from overthinking and over-worrying. Stress and anxiety. We are not at peace. We cannot sit still. Stress and anxiety. And then come to controlling and struggling. The more stressful we are, the more we try to control and struggle. And then evaluating our life, evaluating other people. And then judging mind. Judging mind is the main source of suffering. You look, but in our mind, it has a mental discourse. It says a lot of things. We don't look, clearly. We don't see things as they are. But in the mind, it's a lot of idea, reaction, mental discourse. When I was a monk, I think from the first 3 years, I'm very happy, novice. But when I become a bhikkhu, on the 4th year until the 7th year, I have a lot of suffering. And these are the things that I share with you today. I always judging other people. You know, when I practice walking meditation, I keep checking out other people. And most of the time, they don't practice, only me practicing. And that's really suffering. It's really painful to see like that. Only me practicing, the rest they don't practice. This is stupid church. This is very, subjective, very controlling. And I also sensitive. I kind of worry how people look at me, how people think about me. So sensitive also, if we don't practice, easy to have kind of suffering. You're afraid of other people, the way people say and think about you. And that's come from, attachment. So the last part is attachment. Judging and an attachment. Attachment. You love yourself. You attach your own, own being. You want you to be important. Attachment. You love your own self. So bhavana is actually re-examining, looking inside. So when we practice, actually most of the time we should be looking inside and re-examine and pinpoint the roots of suffering. You have to touch the root of suffering. You have to see, the mind, the habitual way of behavior, the mental discourse, and the way we speak also. Most of the time we don't speak right. It should be authentic. It should be, loving, clear. It should be direct, not in the back. Authentic, what you say, it should be authentic from the heart, not pretending. We are not a seller, We don't want to make people happy. We want to say from the heart. And of course, we don't want to complain. We want to appreciate. Honesty also make us stop habit of lying. Keep lying from one line to another line in order to cover up, make ourselves presentable. But actually, it's not true. I suffer so much, so I decide to kill myself. The time that I want to kill myself. The big truck running by, and I want to jump there in the middle of the road, so I get killed. But I didn't do it. Luckily, I didn't do it. And I'm here today, after 28 years. I'm still here. So the negativity in our mind, if we don't practice, transform it, become very dangerous. Become overwhelming with suffering. Bhava means to make happiness become real. So the moment we practice, we have to experience happiness, so that we have the balance to be able to embrace the suffering. We need to have some clear mind. Instead of confusion, anxiety, and stress all the time, we have to have some glimpse of clear mind to be able to look into the suffering. Because when we look into this, especially in the mind, it's much harder. They're too fast. Like evaluating is too fast. Like judging is too fast. Like reacting too fast. Like clinging and attachment is too fast. If you want to know whether you have so much attachment and clinging to your ego, just see the way we evaluate. When we listen to someone, the way we evaluate, the way we talk inside the mind, we know this attachment and craving to the ego very strong. And when we just listen, you know that the ego, stop working, functioning. And controlling, especially in the meeting, we control a lot because we want our ideas to be known, to be decided, more important. One sound of the bell, please. Sorry about that. You know why I don't want to kill myself? Because I love my mom so much. I don't want to betray her. And I love my teacher so much. I don't want to betray him. But the suffering is real. It's come from within my mind. And these are the things I say. My language is so accusing. I was born in a family, we have a very strong personality. And we speak so strong, so direct. And it creates a lot of suffering for me and other people. And I have to take, a lot of time, practicing on my personality. Very strong. Like to control things. And get angry, upset a lot. I'm talking about the first 7 years in the monastic life. Now I'm much better, more happier. Now I have a feeling that I don't control much. I let things as they are. I let the brother some space to live their life. Even they make mistakes, it's okay. Yeah. Because they can learn from their own mistake. You just don't put too much your eyes of controlling other people too much. It's just suffering. They need space to live their life. Sometimes they need space to make mistakes. They have space to have a little bit lazy and So now I feel more peace because I see the roots of suffering. Especially the anxiety and the stress and anxiety in me is so much. It takes so long for me to transform this stress and anxiety. I cannot sit still. It's always like fire burning inside. I have to do something. I have to read the book, to cover up. Even read the book is to cover up. Can you believe when I was a novice monk, I like to read a romantic novel because I run away from myself. So I'm reading a lot of novel, love novel, romantic, because I run away, cover up. But thanks to that, I can write now. I can write books. So everything has a price. Suffering make you grown up. Suffering make you more happy. But so suffering is too much, less happiness. So we have to bring into the balance. And that's more happy moment. And happiness is available. Happiness is not a condition. Happiness is a skill to touch, to experience. A flower could be a very happy element for life. A breath can be a happy element of life, whether we touch the happiness or not. When I went through the great operation, I have a tumor cancer in my intestine, my colon, and they had to cut the tumor. It's too big. They had to cut it, and they put the intestine together. So I cannot eat for nearly 10 days. I have a lot of pain. I cannot eat, but there's a lot of water, because it doesn't go down, so it's stuck. It can go into my chest. I can't breathe. One night, I can't breathe. I nearly died. So somehow that I vomit out a lot, and I survive. But the moment I cannot breathe, I nearly die. That moment is still alive in me. And now to breathe is happiness. I remember the moment that I can't breathe. So now breathing is happiness. So when we go through life, some suffering, we actually enjoy happiness. Yeah, we treasure happiness. The moment I can't breathe, now breathing alone is enough to make me happy. Now I used to have a lot of pain, not that kind of operation, but have also back pain. Now I don't have pain. No pain is happiness. Sitting, no pain is happiness for me. So suffering actually, it makes happiness. It's like that. The more suffering we are, and when we practice, it makes us more happiness. So the balance, the way it is like that. So don't be afraid of suffering. It has the meaning of life. The Buddha called the noble of suffering, the holiness of suffering. Whether can we embrace it or not? Can we be able to see the roots of our own suffering or not? To be able to transform it. And when we transform it, it becomes happiness, more freedom. That's it. Thank you very much. Short Dhamma talk.